Hello everyone, today we are going to be doing another video on the Chaos Marines Codex. We're going to be looking at troops. I'm going to split these up into as many videos as possible to get my best knowledge of what I think of these troops in each one, so I'm not rushing for getting a 20-minute video. The first two I'm going to do together is your standard troops that are always available to you all the time, no matter what marks you take, what lords you take. First up is your Chaos Space Marines standard unit. 75 points for 5, or 130 points for 10. I'd always go for 10, because then you have the ability to fight other units and have a chance of winning. I'd also always take Veterans of the Long War, because you always want that leadership 10, so hide your sergeant at the back. Also, these are objective unit, but this is an objective unit. It sits on your objectives, or sits on our objective, claims it, gives you the points. It's not a frontline fighting unit, it's not built for that anymore. It was in 5th, where you got close combat weapons and bolt guns, and all the grenades for 15 points each, and your leadership 10. It was made for that in the last book, but in this book they're not anymore. They're made for sitting on objectives, claiming, because you never had that unit that could go, this unit claims all the time in the last edition. It was right, does that unit claim this one? Or do I have to go over there, destroy that tank, then claim this one? If they're going to be 10-man claiming squads, I'd always take an autocannon, las cannon, or missile launcher. I wouldn't take a heavy bolter, because you have 10 bolt guns. I don't see room for heavy bolters in Chaos Space Marines armies, because you have autocannons, which are longer range, higher strength, same AP, but 2 shots. So -1 shot, for +2 strength. Means you can attack tanks, heavy units, pick on monstrous creatures and annoy them quite a bit. You can do quite a lot more with heavier weapons than heavy bolters. Always give them Veterans of the Long War for that +1 leadership. And also if you fight Marines and they run into you, you go, haha, hatred! But apart from that, it's the +1 leadership you're wanting with that unit. I won't give them a mark, puts too many points into them, and then makes you think they can have a role of going forward in your front line. Wouldn't give them an icon, because if you remember in 5th edition, Billy the Icon Bearer, which I always called them, once unfortunate Billy gets shot in the face and dies, nobody else can pick his stick up. So that 25-point stick that made you fearless has just fallen on the floor, and now your unit can run away, instead of someone picking it up going, I've got the stick. Don't bother taking them, they're not useful for this troop unit. They are useful for other units, as I've said in videos past, and going to say in videos in future. But for this troops unit, they're not a viable option for me, icons. Because then you've got your Aspiring Champion at the back, then you've got your icon at the back, and then you'll have your heavy weapon in the middle, so it can still have range and still have fire support just in case you're being shot at. That's too much work for a standard unit, I feel. All you want is your champion at the back of the squad, your heavy weapon in the middle of the squad somewhere, sorted, sat on objective. Or hopefully an objective in cover, which helps a lot more, because then they can have cover saves from big nasty weapons. Moving on to the cultists. I would say for cultists, always take 20 to 30-man squads, because you need the numbers for making them viable for an option. I'd also say take no upgrades whatsoever, as it ruins their point of being extremely cheap and durable. I'd like to point out that 30 cultists is the exact same points for 10 Marines. So if you're wanting to switch them round, try out different ideas, you can easily switch these two for each other. I would say though for cultists, I would only take cultists if I had typhus, then I can turn them into zombies to give them feel no pain and fearless, because at the moment with leadership 8, when you have 30 models, if you kill 25% of that 30, which is 7 or 8, you can run away quite easily because your average roll on 2 dice is 8. And you don't want them to run away because that'll be 22 models just going bye. It's not good. Not good. It's not. I wouldn't let that happen. I wouldn't want it to happen. It happened quite a lot because it's easy for 7 cultists with no upgrades to die. Because the armor saves are 6+. They're not getting armor saves against almost anything. The Termagants, more or less. So yeah, I'd say only take cultists if you want to try them out, or if you've got typhus and you can make them fearless zombies with feel no pain. I wouldn't say they're as good as the Chaos Space Marine option, because the Chaos Space Marines and the 3-up armor save, leadership, high leadership, better weapons, they can do more. I will say this one thing though, that cultists, 30 of them on a charge, will have 3 attacks each standard. So that'll be 90 attacks, half that, 45 hits, not more than half that, so you're looking about 10 plus wounds. For a unit that's a bit cheap and minuscule, that's actually quite nice. But the problem is you've got to get there with still your amount of numbers. You like the old Termagants, you had to take units of 30 of them to get to your enemy. But now, because you're a cultist and you're not a Tyranid, you're not fearless, so you could easily just run off the board, or be ran off the board, or be charged by something bigger that just slays tireless millions of you, and then you run off the board. I'd say they're a bit fragile for me. I like my Chaos Space Marines, I like keeping to the armor save 3. I know what they can take, I know what they can die to. They are far more viable for me. I'd like to thank everybody for watching all my videos so far. The more troops ones will be coming up really, really soon. I've found nice little combos in some of the troops that you can do. I'd like you to leave comments on what you think about these 2 troops choices and which ones would you take and why. And thank you for watching.